chosen people, you could almost call Samaria the church, God's chosen people at that time, were not acting like who they were supposed to be.
There you go.
It's like the guy that was looking for a job, and he saw a help wanted sign at the zoo, so he went in and applied, and he said, what's the job? He says, well, our gorilla died, and we need somebody to dress up like a gorilla and really act it out until we get a new one. And the guy says, oh, okay, I'll do it. And so he dresses up, and he's really getting into it every day. And he's climbing up on a wall, and the lion's den is right next door, and he's just taunting the lion and taunting the people. And one day he slipped and he fell into the lion's den. And the lion starts coming after him, and he's coming at him. And now the guy, he's not a gorilla. He's, help! I'm a human! Help! Get me out of here! Help! 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 And the lion's almost right on him, and he's still screaming for help. And the lion stops and looks at him and says, if you don't shut up, we're both going to lose our jobs. Trying to look like something they're not. It doesn't work out very well, does it? The king asked this woman what was troubling her. In verse 28, she answered, this other woman said to me, give up your son that we may eat him today, and we will eat my son tomorrow. So we boiled my son, ate him, and I said to her on the next day, give your son that we may eat him. But she had hidden her son. Killing their babies? We would never do that. Not in this day and age. Never. And I'm not going to go there, but I'm going to give you the verses. In Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 49 through 57, gives this idea much more explicitly. And it's hard to read what they do about killing babies and eating babies. In Lamentations chapter 4 and verse 10, it says, the hands of the compassionate women have cooked their own children. They became food for them. You think we would never get that bad. Never get to a place where we would eat or kill our babies. But see, Israel has been going down this slippery slope and getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and that's what's going on till they finally get to that place. Now, I want to be careful here, but the Western world, the Western church, even the whole world, but the Western church has to be careful about how far we're allowing things into the church as far as trying to look like society and trying to do all the latest things. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being contemporary, but you got to be for the Lord first and foremost. Amen? I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but we all know that. It happened that the king heard the words of the woman. He tore his clothes, and he was in sackcloth. Then he said, in verse 31, here's another point I want you to get. Then he said, God do to me and more also, if the head of Elisha, the son of Shaphat, remains on him today. He's blaming God. He's blaming the man of God. You know, anytime, have we ever had any corrupt leaders in this country? Anytime a corrupt leader gets found out, wasn't me, it was him. It was her. It was them. It's never them. They began blame shifting right away. And this is the worst of all. He's blaming God by blaming the man of God. There's an old proverb, African proverb, that said, if there is no enemy within, the enemy without can do you no harm. The enemy without can't harm you if there's no enemy within. Get right with God. And the devil can't do nothing to you. Amen. He can lie to you. He can tempt you. But God will save you. All right, look at leprous men are not allowed in the city. Chosen people who are so nice and wonderful that they eat their babies. These guys are outcasts. And they said in verse 4, they're saying, why should we sit here until we die? And verse 4 says, if we say we will enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we're going to die. Now therefore, come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live. And if they kill us, we'll only die. And what they're thinking is, we're not accepted in the church. I'm making some parallels. And we're going to die right here in our sin anyway. But what if we went to the enemy? What if we went to the camp of sin? What if we just went foolhardy into our sinful nature and just accepted that? At least we wouldn't die right away. We might get some good meals, some comfort before we die. There's people outside the church sitting between the church and society. And I mean secular society. I mean evil, good and evil. There's people sitting right in the crux, right in the middle. These were like your junkies, your winos, your backslidden Christians, sitting at the gate, and people of different color from you, people in a different socioeconomical status than you, sitting between the church where they're not really accepted and the enemy that wants to kill them by taking their souls. We have Friday nights at the cafe, and Teen Challenge people join me a lot. I still teach out there. I teach evangelism and prayer and do some counseling. And they come out on Friday nights and go out street witnessing with us. And a couple Friday nights ago, we were out at one of the very popular liquor stores and inviting people back to the cafe for free food. We pull the grills out on the sidewalk and we make food, and we got condiments inside, and there's live music going on, Christian music, and just people loving on you. So we invite them back, and we get a number that come back on Friday nights. But this couple Friday nights ago, I probably spoke, Pastor, for 5 minutes in an intermission of the music when we had a bunch of street people that come in, or a few anyway. And I gave them an altar call, and I told them about Jesus, and 3 of them raised their hands for Jesus. And so when I finished, I went over and sat at their table and began to talk to them and get more personal, find out what's going on, inviting them to truly give their hearts to Jesus. And then I took them out to the front door, and I said, see that church right across the street over there? That's our church. I'd love to see you there Sunday morning. And you know how that goes sometimes. Sunday morning, I love to get to church 2 or 3 hours early. I know that's weird. But I love to walk around the church and pray and go over my notes if I'm preaching and make the coffee, do all this stuff. I pull up in the parking lot and I see 2 people sleeping in the doorway. I get out of my car and I go up there and they see me and they get up and they say, oh, sorry, we don't have a clock and we don't want to be late for church. And it was 2 of those people that had given their hearts to Jesus Christ, amen? They had been between a rock and a hard place. They've been between the world and fed them and fed them. And they've been coming back for the last couple of weeks. And so we're trying to find out more about them. They're kind of undereducated. And also I think there's some mental things going on. There's quite a lot across the board that's going on in the street. But anyway, God helped us to help them. So they said if we... And I took back what he stole from me. Help me out. Took back what he stole from me. Took back what he stole from me. I went to the enemy's camp and I took back what he stole from. You got to get up for this one. He's under my feet. He's under my feet. Amen. Amen. They get to the camp. The Lord made it sound like huge armies were coming against the Arameans. They got up and ran for their lives out of the camp. They left their horses. They left their donkeys. They left their second pair of pants. They left the pictures of their loved ones in their tent. They left everything and just ran for their lives. And these 4 leprous guys get there and they say, hey, nobody's here. And they start plundering everything. All this food and then these gold and silver and jewelry, and they're all great, and they take it and they go and hide it. And they come back to get some more. And then I want you to see verse 9 in chapter 7. Then they said to one another, we are not doing right. This day is a day of good news. And we remain silent. If we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now, therefore, come, let us go tell the king's household. I felt pretty good for those guys. They're getting in there, getting all this stuff they never had. I said, yeah, go for it, go for it, go for it. And then one of them stops and says, wait a minute, this don't feel right. We're not doing right because we've got the good news. And we're not sharing it with those who are dying. And that's the question we all have to ask ourselves. Are we sharing the good news that we've accepted with a lost and dying world? Are we responsible for that? Of course we are. Let me make one more point. These guys went to the king, told the guys on the gate, go tell the king, and they're all gone. They didn't quite believe him. They sent out an envoy to check it out. They found it was. So then the city opened up, and all the people ran out and plundered all the camp of the Arameans and got food and riches and all this stuff, and their lives were saved. These 4 guys got a big ticket parade, lots of pats on the back, key to the city. No. They never were heard from again. Nobody thanked them. Nobody even acknowledged them. They were still the misfits that they are. They weren't eating their babies. They weren't condoning that kind of stuff. But they were not accepted by the church people, God's chosen people. And all I want to say about that is if you're out there doing the Lord's work in any capacity, my mother, Trish, my mother would witness to waitresses that things of the world. Things of the world.